The forex market is made up of so many opportunities. There are so many currency pairs you can trade. There are so many exotic, minor, and even major currencies that you can trade. But you only be able to know exactly which currency pair to trade and when to trade that particular currency pair if you understand what is known as forex market sessions. All right. So on today's video, we're going to be covering forex market sessions and how you can be able to use forex market sessions to better trade as a day trader. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. As you guys already know, my name is Indemazegolof. On this channel we talk everything about trading, business, personal finance and tips to help you stay profitable as a forex trader. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, then hit the subscribe button below to subscribe to the channel so that you can be able to stay updated once I release content like this. So without taking much of your time, what are forex market sessions? On today's video we'll be covering things like let's just go back to the same one. Okay, so on today's video we'll be covering things like what is a forex market session, because just like I mentioned, in forex trading we have many sessions. All right, so what is a forex market session? We'll also cover what are major forex market sessions. We'll also cover that. We'll cover the open and close times of forex sessions, then trading session overlaps, because in forex trading the best time you can trade forex is when different market or different sessions overlap. Let's just say you have we'll go into different section or different market forex sessions very soon, but the best times you can trade is when most of these sessions overlap. So we'll go detailedly into that on the video of today, and then the best trading sessions. So which session is the best for you to trade? So with that being said, let's go to what we call what is a forex session. So as you can see on my screen, they say forex market hours run 24 hours a day. So that one is very obvious because you already know forex market session run 24 hours a day during the week, but the market is closed on weekends. The market is open from 10 p.m. GMT on Sunday when the Sydney session starts. All right, so normally the forex market is open like 5 days, 24 hours a day and 5 days a week, and it starts the normal trading day starts on Sunday at 10 p.m. GMT. So on this when we're talking about forex market sessions, we'll be using the GMT and the Eastern time. GMT is mostly the Greenwich Meridian time and also the Eastern time. So no matter where you are located, you can convert the time zone to your present time zone, but we'll be using the GMT and the Eastern time. All right, so the forex market open at 10 p.m. on Sunday, and 10 p.m. on Sunday, that is when the Sydney, because we remember we're talking about forex market sessions, and we have something which is called the Sydney session. All right, the Sydney or the Sydney or we have something which is called the Sydney or the Australian session, and once the Sydney or the Australian session opens on Sunday at 10 p.m., that is when the trading starts. All right, that is when trading starts again. And on Friday the market is closed. On Friday the New York session closes for the weekend. So what I'm just trying to say on, or what we are just explaining on this slide, is a definition of a forex market session, and it is stated very clearly. The forex market is open 24 hours a day and 5 days a week. The market is open on Sunday at 10 p.m. GMT. No matter where you are located, let me just take South Africa for an example. In South Africa, my time is GMT +2. So the market opens at 12 a.m. or 12 midnight on Sunday, 12 midnight on Sunday, and it closes on Friday. On Friday, it closes at 10 p.m. It closes at 10 p.m. on Friday when the New York session, because the New York session closes on Friday. So on Friday, it also closes at 10 p.m. when the New York session is closed. So you see, it moves from 10 p.m. to 10. It opens on 10 p.m. on Sunday, and it closes at 10 p.m. on Fridays. All right, so that is what they call forex market sessions, because the opening and the closing time is determined by different forex market sessions. And in this case, you can see the opening time is determined by the Australian or the Sydney session, and the closing time is determined by the American or the New York session. We'll be talking more about the different forex market sessions when we go to the subsequent slide. So now let's talk about what are the major forex market sessions. I've already explained to you what is a forex market sessions. That because the word has already been, when forex trading started, to be able to have a way in which they could easily track movement and measure different transactions in forex trading, they came up with something which they call forex market sessions. And in forex trading, there are 4 major forex market sessions. All right, this is what you have to note. There are 4 major forex market sessions. It's either you have the New York. I hope you can see it clearly from here. If it's not too clear, then what it means that the New York, you have the New York session. Let me bring it bigger. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So here we have the New York session or the North America. All right, because the whole of this session represent New York. You can see this is the session right here. It represents New York or North America. All right, because this is like the world map. That is the first session, because we have 4 major sessions. After that, we have the London session or the European session. You can either call it the London session or you call it the European session. So we have the London session or the European session. All right. So that is just I want to just explain to you guys the 4 major forex market sessions. The first one is the New York or the North American session. The second one is the London or the European session. The third one is the Tokyo or the Asian. So for the Asian people, for Asian company, for Asian countries like the Switzerland or like Tokyo, China, and Taiwan and all of that. So for Asian countries, you have the Asian session or the Tokyo session. So you can either call it the Asian session or the Tokyo session, because the reason why they use cities is because for people to easily master the different forex market session, they were able to use like the financial hubs, the cities or the capital, the financial hubs of those particular sessions. Like in Northern America, they use New York as a financial. New York was determined as a financial hub. That is why it is called the New York session. In Europe, London was considered as the financial hub. That is why it is called the London session. In Asia, Tokyo is considered like the financial hub of Asia. That is why it is considered as the Tokyo session. Then in Australia, in the Australian session, obviously Sydney is the capital of Australia, so that is why you also have the Sydney or the Australian session. So those are the 4 different market sessions which we have in forex. The 4 major market sessions which we have in forex, which is the London, the New York or the North American session, the London or the London or the European session. You have the Tokyo or the Asian session, and you have the Sydney or the Australian session. That is all what you have to be able to note down on this particular slide when it comes to forex market session. So on these slides, let's talk about the open and close time of FX sessions, because in forex trading, the reasons why they are even called forex sessions or different sessions is because each session is having its own open time and its own closing time. So they all have different open and different closing times. Okay, so let's start with the Sydney. Let's start with the Sydney or the Australian session, because in Sydney, the Sydney session opens at 7 a.m. That is their local time, because here you can see we have local time, GMT or UTC time. You can either call it the GMT or the UTC time, and you also have the Eastern time. All right, so for the local time for the Sydney session, the local time in Sydney or in Australia 7 a.m. So their market opens at 7 a.m. and it closes at 4 p.m. Australian time. And GMT, 7 a.m. in Australia is the same as 9 p.m. GMT, and 4 p.m. in Australia is the same as 6 a.m. GMT. All right. So if I want to be able to convert this to my time zone, remember I said South Africa is GMT +2. So if I want to convert this, the GM, I will just need to add 2 hours on this. So the Sydney session, this is how you calculate forex market session based on your time zone. So since I'm GMT +2, it will mean the Sydney session opens at 11 p.m. because here I'll just add 2 hours. It means it opens at 11 p.m. because this will be +2 hours. Let me go back here, because this will be +2 hours, and this one will be +2 hours. All right. So you see here, it will mean the Sydney session opens at 11 p.m. and closes at 8 a.m. South African time. All right, because here is GMT +2. So that is how you calculate the different market sessions to be able to know the time. And if you are in New York, which is, and I think in North America or New York, they use what is called the Eastern time. So there it means the forex market opens at 4 p.m. and closes at 1 a.m. So no matter where you are, you can easily use that to determine the forex market session. And Tokyo, the Tokyo market in Tokyo, the Tokyo market opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. The same thing on GMT, the same thing on Eastern time. London, the same thing. London, this is one of the favorite market session. When we go along on the course, we'll be able to explain why the London session is one of the best sessions which you can trade and how you can trade the London session. So the London session in UK, the time it opens at 8 a.m. And it closes at 5 p.m. which is almost the same like my time, because here you can see it opens at 7 a.m. GMT, and since I'm GMT +2, it means in South Africa the forex market in London, or the London session, opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. So you can see this is one of the best sessions that I can trade, because this is the one that fit on my time zone. All right. So with that being said, we also have the New York session. The New York session opens at 8 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. New York time, while in GMT is 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. All right. So with that being said, those are just the forex market time, because you can see we have the 4 different market sessions, and each of those 4 market sessions have their opening and their closing time. So that is what you have to be able to understand, because when we start talking about market overlapping, overlappings, you need to be able to know when that forex market is open and when the forex market on that particular session closes. All right. So with that being said, let's see what we have. Trading sessions overlap. This is something which is the reasons why we even talk about forex market session is because of the forex market overlap. Because when two forex sessions overlap, there's high liquidity, or there's high volume at that particular point in time. So anytime you want to trade forex, if you see that okay, there are 2 market overlaps, if you see that there are 2 sessions which are overlapping, then that is the best time to trade the currency pairs which are made up of those sessions. Let me explain what I'm saying. You can see here we have the trading sessions overlap. All right, and the time is from, let's just say, is from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m. all right, because you can see 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., then you have noon or midnight, then 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5, and the time is in GMT. So the time here is in GMT. All right. So now the Sydney session, remember we explained very well that the Sydney session according to GMT opens at 21 o'clock. All right, opens at 21 o'clock and closes at 5 a.m. all right. So because of that, you can see this session covers from year up to year. This is where the Sydney market is open. This green session is where the Sydney market is open, which is from 21 o'clock or from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So this is where the Sydney market is open. All right. Now the Tokyo market, since even though the Sydney market is still open, still within the day, the Tokyo market also opens, and the Tokyo market, according to GMT, opens at 11 p.m. And it extends, instead of closing at 5 a.m. as opposed to the Sydney market. The Tokyo market extends up to 7 p.m. All right, extends up to 7 p.m. and the same thing goes for the London. The same thing goes for, as soon as it's ending at 7 p.m. Or as soon as it is ending at 7 p.m. the London session also opens at 7 p.m. and it closes at 3 p.m. So you see, it closes at 3 p.m. and the New York session opens from 12 p.m. and it closes at 8 p.m. So you can see the different market sessions have their opening and their closing times. But what I want to explain by trading session overlaps, this is where you call the trade. If you want to determine where the market has overlap, this is where you'll be able to determine. You can see from year to year, the Sydney market was open, right? From 21 o'clock to 5 a.m. The Sydney market was open. And the Tokyo market was open from 23 o'clock to 7 a.m. And in between, you can see here, you can put the mic here. You can see here from 23 o'clock to 5 a.m. This is where there was an overlap. All right, this is where there was an overlap. There was an overlap between these two markets. So the Sydney market or the Australian market was overlapping with the Tokyo market. So you see, that is what they call an overlapping in the Forex market. And this is very important. As we'll be going ahead, you see why I said this is very, very important. This is very, very important because at this particular point in time, based on your time zone, if you see that there are two Forex market overlapped at that particular point in time or at that particular point in the day, then you have to be able to choose currency pairs that fall between those two sessions. For example, here the Sydney and the Tokyo. The Sydney and the Tokyo market is overlapping, sorry. So the currency pair which is best to trade at this point in time is Sydney is Australia. So it will be the Australian dollar. So it will be the Australian dollar and the Tokyo. The Tokyo is what? The Japanese yen. So you see. So at this point in time, the best currency pair that you can trade, which is going to be very, very liquid, the best currency pair that you can trade will be the Australian dollar and the Japanese yen. Because no matter, even if you check all the other currency pairs, there are some times where the Forex market is totally quiet. Even though they say the Forex market is open 24 hours a day or 27 hours a day, there are some times of the day that the Forex market is quiet. And it's not advisable to be trading at these particular times, because if you try trading at these particular times, then you might even end up blowing your account. So you need to know where to say, okay, this is not the best time to trade. And you know when it's not the best time to trade, when you are able to understand Forex market sessions. All right, so I've just explained to you. So using the same explanation, let's look for another overlapping in the market and then determine the currency pairs which we can trade at that point in time. Let's just use the London session and the New York session. The London session opens at 7 a.m. GMT and closes at 3 p.m. all right, GMT time. Since this is the closing time here, let me put a mark. This is the close time. Let me put close. All right, so this is the mark for the closing time of the London time. At the same time, the New York opens at 12 noon. This is the open time for the New York. You can see this is the open time for the New York. So at the same time, the New York opens at this same. The London open at 7 a.m. and closes here, and the New York opens at 12 and closes at 20 o'clock. So now you can see this area where these two markets are overlapping. Let me not make it this area from here, where this overlapping comes in from year to year. This is where there's still an overlap. This is still an overlap in the Forex market. And this might sound a little bit abstract, but when you understand what I'm saying, you come to see the reasons why you have to understand, so that you know the currency pairs to trade. So this is still an overlap in the Forex market. And by the same explanation which I explained here, for you to be able to pick the currency pair to trade, which currency pair can you easily trade here? It's easy. The London section, you have the currency pairs you can trade for the year is Great Britain pound, because you have the London session, and New York. What is the New York is USD. All right, so you can either trade at this particular point in time. The Great Britain pound USD is going to be very volatile. If you check on your chart, it's going to have volume, and you can only trade if there is volume. So this is the best time you can trade Great Britain pound USD. And remember, the name doesn't always stand for USA, or it doesn't stand for New York. It is also called the North American session. So you can also trade Great Britain pound, Canadian dollar. All right, so you can also trade Great Britain pound, Canadian dollar, because it still falls. The Canadian dollar falls under the North American session. You can still trade USD CAD. So you see, you can still trade USD CAD. The USD falls under the North American or the New York session, and the Canadian dollar still falls under the same session. So you see, those are the currency pairs that you can trade at that particular point in time, because the Forex market is very liquid at that point, and there is also volume at that particular point in time. So with that being said, let's go to the best trading sessions. The best trading sessions, according to this chart, which is if you can see on the board, they say let's use the average pip movement, because there's a parameter that they've been able to use to calculate the average pip movements according to different strategies and according to different sessions. All right, you can see on the chart here we have the pair, which is the currency pair. We have the Tokyo session, we have the London session, and we have the New York session. All right, so even though I said there are four major sessions in the Forex market, there are three that you have to focus on, which are the most important. You have the Tokyo, the London, and the New York. Those are the three most important that you are supposed to focus on. All right. So with that being said, you can see here we have the currencies, we have the average. All these figures stands for the average pip movement of the currencies in that particular session. That means before the session opens and closes, this is the average pip movement. Before it opens and closes, this is the average pip movement for the New York. Okay, so taking something like Euro USD, you can see the Tokyo session, the average pip movement is 76 pips. The London session, the average pip movement is 114 pips. And the New York session, the New York session, the average pip movement is 92 pips. The same thing goes for Great Britain pound. Tokyo session is 92, London session is 127 pips, and the New York session is 99 pips. But now, if you can check, these are all the major currency pairs here, and if you can compare the average pip movements according to different sessions, you will see that the best session with the highest average pip movement, the session with the average highest pip movement is the London session. All right. So you can see from the chart, this is the average pip movement of each currency pair according to different sessions. And if you can see on my chart, that for the London session, it has the highest average pip movement. So when it comes to the Forex market, the best session that you can trade, even if you have your day job or you're busy or you're preoccupied, the best time you can always set time to trade Forex is the London session. Because the London session, that is when most banks are open, that is when most commercial banks, most central banks are open, and there's liquidity. And when there's liquidity and volume, that is the best time to trade, because you can easily do your predictions and you can make a lot of money in Forex. So the best trading session for you to trade is the London session. Although if you have an opportunity in each of the section, any section that you have your trading set up, you can still trade. But we are talking about the optimum or the best trading session which you can trade is the London session. So with that being said, we've come to the end of this video. So on this video, we've introduced or I've spoke about what are Forex market sessions, which one is the best Forex market session, and how can you use Forex market sessions to be able to make profit in Forex trading. So if you've gained some knowledge, or if you've gained something new from this video, please leave a thumb up on the video. It means a lot for the YouTube algorithm and to also spread the news and help another person. So leave a thumb up on the video. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below to subscribe to the channel, so that you can always be updated when I come up with content like this. So till then, I'll see you guys on another live video. Peace.